Welcome, dear viewer. In this video, we're diving deep into the wisdom of the Four Agreements, a powerful guide for living a more conscious and peaceful life. This book was written by Don Miguel Ruiz, a renowned spiritual teacher from Mexico, who draws on the ancient Toltec wisdom to share insights that can transform your life. The Four Agreements are simple, yet profound principles that, when practiced, can bring clarity, peace, and personal freedom into your daily experience. Ruiz explains that we live in a world filled with noise and distractions, but these agreements are a way to silence the chaos and find clarity. Don Miguel Ruiz is a spiritual teacher who was born into a family of healers and was raised in the ancient Toltec tradition. He initially followed the path of a medical doctor, but after a life-changing experience, he embraced his spiritual roots and began teaching the profound truths that were passed down to him through his family's heritage. His message is simple. We are all living in a dream, and to awaken from this dream, we need to change the way we think and perceive the world. The Four Agreements are a practical guide to achieving this transformation. By the end of this video, you will have a deeper understanding of what the Four Agreements are, how they work, and how they can help you lead a life full of peace, love, and authenticity. We will take each chapter and break down the lessons, providing examples and showing how you can apply them in your own life. The goal is to make these teachings practical, accessible, and relatable to you. Chapter 1. Be impeccable with your word. The first agreement is to be impeccable with your word. This might sound simple, but it is one of the most important teachings in the book. The word, according to Ruiz, is the most powerful tool you have. It shapes your reality, impacts your relationships, and influences your life in ways that might surprise you. To be impeccable with your word means using your words with integrity, being honest, and avoiding gossip or harmful speech. Words carry energy, and they have the power to either heal or hurt, to build or destroy. When you speak, make sure you are aligned with your truth. This means not only speaking with honesty but also being mindful of the impact your words have on others. Ruiz emphasizes that being impeccable with your word is about being mindful of both the words you speak about others and about yourself. When you speak negatively about yourself, you create an inner reality that limits your potential. When you speak positively, you unlock your power to create a life filled with love and abundance. Benefits of being impeccable with your word. Clarity in communication. When you are impeccable with your word, communication becomes clear, honest, and direct. This helps in building trust with others and avoiding misunderstandings. Integrity. By being true to your word, you maintain integrity. This allows you to feel authentic and at peace with yourself. Self-respect. When you speak kindly to yourself, you reinforce self-respect and confidence. You stop belittling your worth and start affirming your strength. A new story to illustrate the lesson. Imagine you are at work, and your colleague has been taking credit for your ideas. It frustrates you, and you're tempted to speak negatively about them behind their back. However, instead of engaging in gossip or harmful speech, you take a moment to reflect on the agreement to be impeccable with your word. You decide to speak with your colleague directly and express how you feel. With kindness and clarity, you explain that you feel your contributions have been overlooked, but you also express appreciation for their efforts. This open, honest communication helps resolve the issue without causing harm to anyone. By being impeccable with your word, you maintain your integrity, your peace, and your relationship with your colleague. Chapter 2. Don't take anything personally. The second agreement is don't take anything personally. This lesson teaches us that the opinions, actions, and words of others are not about us. They are a reflection of their own world, their own experiences, and their beliefs. When we take things personally, we allow ourselves to be affected by things that are out of our control. We give others the power to dictate how we feel, which in turn robs us of our peace. Taking things personally is one of the biggest sources of suffering and misunderstanding. Ruiz suggests that by not taking things personally, we free ourselves from unnecessary emotional pain. This agreement encourages us to recognize that what others do and say is not about us, but about them and how they see the world. Benefits of not taking anything personally. Emotional freedom. When we stop taking things personally, we no longer allow other people's actions to control our emotions. We become less reactive and more in control of our emotional state. Resilience. We build mental resilience when we stop internalizing every criticism or negative comment. It helps us handle challenges without being shaken by them. Stronger relationships. By not taking things personally, we create space for understanding and compassion, which strengthens our relationships with others. We are less likely to engage in conflict or harbor resentment. A new story to illustrate the lesson. Let's imagine you're at a family gathering. One of your relatives, who often makes sarcastic remarks, comments on your appearance. Instead of feeling hurt or offended, you remember the second agreement. Don't take anything personally. You understand that their words reflect their own insecurities and perceptions, not your reality. Rather than internalizing the insult, you calmly respond with a smile, acknowledging that their words don't define you. This simple shift in perspective frees you from the emotional grip of the comment. You realize that you are not responsible for their thoughts or feelings. Instead of reacting, you choose to maintain your peace and keep the situation lighthearted. In doing so, you not only protect your emotional state, but you also model resilience and maturity for those around you. Chapter 3. Don't make assumptions. The third agreement is don't make assumptions. Assumptions are often the cause of misunderstandings, miscommunication, and unnecessary conflict. When we make assumptions, we fill in the gaps of our understanding with our own interpretations, without taking the time to clarify or ask questions. This can lead to creating false narratives in our minds, which then affect how we act and react in various situations. When we assume, we are essentially deciding the outcome of a situation before it unfolds. But in doing so, we deprive ourselves of the chance to truly understand and connect with others. Ruiz urges us to be aware of the assumptions we make and encourages us to seek clarity instead. Benefits of not making assumptions. Less misunderstanding. By not assuming, we open the door for clearer, more honest communication. This reduces confusion and misunderstandings in our interactions. Improved relationships. Assumptions often lead to unnecessary drama in relationships. By avoiding them, we create more trust and connection with others. Reduced stress. When we stop assuming, we reduce the anxiety of imagining worst-case scenarios or interpreting situations in a negative light. We are able to stay grounded and calm. A new story to illustrate the lesson. Picture this. You're in a meeting with a colleague who seems distant and uninterested. You start to assume that they are angry with you or don't value your ideas. Your mind races through different scenarios, and you begin to feel frustrated and anxious. However, you pause and remember the third agreement. Don't make assumptions. Instead of jumping to conclusions, you decide to ask your colleague if everything is okay. As it turns out, your colleague has been preoccupied with personal issues and wasn't feeling well. The tension you thought existed was purely a result of your assumptions. By not assuming, you save yourself from unnecessary stress and open up the possibility for understanding. You also strengthen your relationship with your colleague by showing empathy and offering support instead of reacting to a situation that wasn't even what it seemed. Chapter 4. Always do your best. The fourth and final agreement is always do your best. This lesson emphasizes that our best will vary depending on the circumstances, but the key is to give our full effort regardless of how we feel in the moment. When we do our best, we live with no regrets and no guilt. The expectation is not perfection but genuine effort. Ruiz explains that doing your best means accepting yourself as you are, knowing that your best will not always be the same from day to day. Sometimes you will be more energized, other times less. The goal is to do your best with whatever resources you have, and by doing so, you will feel proud of your work and your life. Benefits of always doing your best. Self-acceptance. By focusing on doing your best, you free yourself from the unrealistic pressure of perfectionism. You learn to accept where you are in your journey. No regrets. When you consistently do your best, you reduce the chances of regretting your actions. You know that you've given it your all. Satisfaction and growth. Doing your best, even when it's not perfect, allows you to learn and grow. Every effort is a step forward in your personal development. A new story to illustrate the lesson. Imagine you are working on a creative project, and you feel frustrated because you aren't able to achieve the level of perfection you envisioned. You might be tempted to abandon the project or give up. But then, you remember the fourth agreement. Always do your best. You refocus on putting forth your best effort, no matter how imperfect the result might be. You pour your heart into the project, and while it may not be perfect, it is the best you could do at that moment. As a result, you feel a sense of pride in the work you've done, knowing that you gave it your all. You also learn valuable lessons in the process that will help you improve in future projects. By focusing on effort instead of perfection, you allow yourself the freedom to enjoy the process and celebrate the journey rather than just the outcome. Conclusion: bringing it all together. To wrap up, we've covered the 4 agreements. Be impeccable with your word. Speak with integrity and use your words to heal, not harm. Don't take anything personally. Understand that what others do or say is a reflection of them, not you. Don't make assumptions. Seek clarity and avoid jumping to conclusions. Always do your best. Give your best effort and accept that your best will look different each day. How to apply these teachings? To apply these lessons in your life, start by being mindful of your words. Pay attention to the way you speak to yourself and others. Practice emotional detachment from the opinions and actions of others, and always check if your assumptions are grounded in truth. Finally, embrace the process of always doing your best without the pressure to be perfect. We hope this video has been helpful and inspiring. Now, we want to hear from you. Which of the 4 agreements resonates with you the most? How will you start implementing them in your life? Leave a comment and share your thoughts with us. We'd love to hear your journey toward living in alignment with the 4 agreements. Conclusion and applying the 4 agreements in daily life. Recap of the 4 agreements. As we conclude our deep dive into the 4 agreements, let's take a moment to reflect on each of these agreements and their profound impact on our lives. Be impeccable with your word. This is about using your words wisely, whether you're speaking to others or to yourself. Words are incredibly powerful, and when we speak with integrity and care, we create a positive environment both internally and externally. Don't take anything personally. This agreement reminds us that the actions and words of others are not a reflection of us but of them. When we stop taking things personally, we free ourselves from unnecessary emotional pain and increase our emotional resilience. Don't make assumptions. Assumptions create misunderstandings and conflict. By seeking clarity and avoiding jumping to conclusions, we open the door to deeper understanding and communication. Always do your best. This is the final key to inner peace and personal growth. Doing your best means putting in your effort each day without expecting perfection. The joy is in the process, not just the end result. How to integrate these agreements into your life. Now that we've explored the principles, let's discuss how you can actively apply them in your daily life. 1. Be mindful of your words. To be impeccable with your word, start by practicing self-awareness. Notice how you speak to yourself. Do you call yourself names or put yourself down? That's a great starting point for change. Replace negative self-talk with positive affirmations. Every time you catch yourself being critical, pause and reframe it in a more loving, kind way. Also, pay attention to the words you use with others. Are you communicating honestly and with integrity? Being impeccable with your word doesn't just mean avoiding lying. It also means being mindful of gossip, judgment, and criticism. Ask yourself, is what I'm about to say truthful, helpful, and kind? 2. Practice emotional detachment. To not take anything personally, it helps to remember that everyone is coming from their own perspective. People's actions and words are often reflections of their own emotions, experiences, and beliefs. When someone says something hurtful or dismissive, instead of reacting emotionally, try taking a step back. Pause and ask yourself, is this really about me? Most of the time, the answer is no. The key is to not internalize their words. You can acknowledge their feelings, but don't let them define your worth. When you stop taking things personally, you start to feel a sense of freedom. You are no longer at the mercy of other people's moods or opinions. This emotional freedom allows you to navigate life with calm and confidence. 3. Seek clarity in communication. The third agreement, don't make assumptions, can be especially powerful in relationships. We all tend to fill in gaps with our own interpretations, and often those assumptions are inaccurate or untrue. The next time you find yourself assuming something about someone, whether it's a friend, a colleague, or a partner, take a moment to check in with them. Instead of assuming their feelings, intentions, or thoughts, ask them, I noticed you seemed upset earlier. Is everything okay? This simple question can clear up any misunderstandings and strengthen the relationship. Making the practice of asking questions a habit will also help you avoid jumping to conclusions that can create unnecessary stress or drama. By communicating openly and clearly, you build trust and prevent conflicts from escalating. 4. Focus on effort, not perfection. Finally, always do your best, without the pressure of perfection. The key to this agreement is understanding that your best is not static. Your best might look different on a day when you're tired versus a day when you're feeling energized. Accept this variability. The goal is not to measure success by a set standard but by the effort you put in. You can apply this to any area of your life, whether it's work, personal growth, or relationships. Instead of beating yourself up for not being perfect, acknowledge the effort you made and the progress you've achieved. Remember, doing your best also means being kind to yourself when things don't go as planned. It's okay to make mistakes. It's part of doing your best. Each day is an opportunity to try again and to grow. Encouragement to start applying the 4 agreements today. Now that you have the knowledge and understanding of the 4 agreements, it's time to take action. Change doesn't happen overnight, but by making small, intentional shifts in your daily habits, you will begin to experience the benefits of these agreements in your life. Start by choosing one agreement to focus on for the week. For example, you could decide to work on being impeccable with your word by catching yourself whenever you speak negatively about yourself or others. Commit to speaking with kindness and integrity. As you continue to practice these agreements, you will notice a positive transformation in your relationships, your self-esteem, and your overall sense of peace. These teachings are not just concepts, they are tools for living a life of purpose and fulfillment. Final thoughts and reflection. Before we end, take a moment to reflect on which of the 4 agreements feels the most relevant to you right now. Do you find that you struggle with taking things personally? Or maybe you've realized that assumptions have been creating unnecessary conflict in your life. Whatever the case, the power is in your hands to change. The beauty of the 4 agreements is that they are simple but deeply transformative. They challenge us to live consciously, to take responsibility for our thoughts and actions, and to treat ourselves and others with kindness and respect. By embracing these agreements, you open the door to a life of inner peace, freedom, and authenticity. You are no longer living according to the expectations of others or society. You are living according to your own truth. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the 4 agreements. Now, we'd love to hear from you. Which agreement do you feel you need to focus on the most in your life right now? How do you plan to incorporate these teachings into your daily routine? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And remember, change takes time. Be patient with yourself as you begin to apply these principles. We believe that with consistent practice, you will see incredible results in your life. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, keep growing and striving to live the life that you truly deserve. Now, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with an exercise that can help you deeply integrate the teachings of the 4 agreements into your life. Take a moment to think about the following questions. Which of the 4 agreements do you feel is the most challenging for you to implement? Is it being impeccable with your word? Or maybe not taking things personally? Perhaps it's avoiding assumptions or consistently doing your best. Think about a situation in your life where you took something personally. How could you have handled it differently if you had remembered this agreement? Write down a few examples of how you can apply this agreement in future similar situations. Reflect on a recent situation where assumptions led to a misunderstanding. How could clearer communication have prevented the issue? Moving forward, how can you avoid making assumptions and ask more questions to clarify? How do you define doing your best? Does your idea of doing your best change depending on your circumstances? How will you remember to show up and put your best effort into whatever task or relationship you are part of? Spend some time journaling your thoughts or discussing them with a friend. These questions can help you truly reflect on how to apply the 4 agreements in your life for lasting change. If you've enjoyed this breakdown of the 4 agreements, here are a few ways to stay engaged with these teachings. Subscribe for more insightful videos. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on future videos that dive deeper into personal growth, self-improvement, and transformative books like this one. Join the discussion. Head over to our community forum or comment below and share your thoughts. We love hearing from you, and it's always inspiring to learn how you are using these lessons in your own life. By staying connected with our content and other viewers, you'll continue to grow in your journey towards living authentically and harmoniously. Before you go, take a moment to remind yourself, you are not alone on this path. Everyone is doing their best, even when it doesn't always seem perfect. The 4 agreements are tools for navigating life with grace, wisdom, and resilience. Remember to be gentle with yourself as you begin to apply these principles. It's not about perfection, it's about effort and consistency. We hope you found value in today's video and that it has helped you understand how to live a life free of unnecessary suffering and full of joy, love, and personal freedom. The more we practice these agreements, the more they become a natural part of who we are. Thank you for watching, and we can't wait to hear your thoughts. Stay true to yourself, and remember, you deserve to live a life of peace and happiness.